Yes, Mr. McMillan. I can handle directing the play. No, you don't need to bring anyone else in. Just give me the night, and I'll set them on the right track. Yeah, bye. Welcome, kids. This is Mr. Jim's Theater Club. As you probably know, you've come here to participate in our elementary Christmas play. Unless you came for the free food, in which case, I lied. There is none. Anyway, I'm sure you're all wondering what the show will be. Well, let me tell you. We ain't doing no Frosty the Snowman. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you have heard of the Christmas truce of 1914? No one. Well, you tell your history teacher that's more the history than Egypt. The Christmas truce of 1914 is what we'll be performing this December. Don't look so disappointed. I actually wrote about this in college, and I put my thesis on the board. During World War I, German and British soldiers on the Western Front disobeyed the direct orders of their government and held a ceasefire to celebrate Christmas. Through this act of goodwill, the soldiers of the most devastating war in history showed that humanity triumphs over duty. That is actually a pretty good enough reason to be doing this play. You got triumph, tragedy, Christmas. What more could you ask for? Here, let me set you in some historical context before I began to show you the play. The year is 1914. The date, June 28th. News came in today, honey. It says right here. Today, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by a Gavrilo Princip. Darn, I can't read this. I swear these papers are writing in tongues nowadays. Anyway, with some attempt to break off the Austro-Hungary South Slav provinces. Political stuff. Not sure what the assassination will mean in the long run, but probably ain't much. Wrong. As it turns out, that assassination, which occurred in the city of Sarajevo in Bosnia, would affect the whole world. Jump to August 12th of the same year. A war has begun. Following the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, Germany declared war on France. Due to the national alliances, Britain declares war on Austria-Hungary. The paper says the nations have fallen down like dominoes. What are you making for dinner? I'm sure you kids have some questions. First off, she was making chicken for dinner. But what you need to know is this. World War I has begun. Now, our play focuses on the Christmas of 1914, but the opening scene takes place a little bit before that, December 7th to be precise. As the war continues much longer than expected, Pope Benedict XV gives a speech concerning the upcoming Christmas for the soldiers. A new commandment I give unto thee, that you love one another, as the theologian Francis Fenelon once stated. All wars are civil wars because all men are brothers. So let us not war with our brothers on the day of our Lord's birth, that the guns may fall silent, at least upon the night that the angels sang. So, how did the generals respond to the Pope's proposition of peace on Christmas Day? The next scene of our play answers that question, and it takes place on the western front of the war, where British Field Marshal Sir John French orders his soldiers to not engage in any form of a ceasefire. I know y'all heard the Pope's words, and I'm not unaware of its consequences. I've seen your unofficial ceasefires during mealtimes, and I've seen scouts ignore each other while on patrol. There's no such thing as live and let live, and there will certainly be none of that on Christmas. The enemy cannot be trusted, and I will not put our victory in this war on the line so we can enjoy a good smoke with the Germans. This has been your warning. You will fire on any who dares cross no man's land, whether that be now or on Christmas morning. Our play nears its climax. Christmas is on the horizon, but the government denies the men any celebration. This is a truly tragic situation, but in this time, we see a triumph that redefines history. On December 24th, 1914, Christmas Eve, the men receive letters from home, and it makes them wish for something, some essence of goodwill. And what a better time for goodwill than Christmas. Well, if you're a soldier on the Western Front of the Great War, and your nation has threatened you with court-martials if you stop fighting on Christmas, there's probably a better time. So what happened on Christmas Day, 1914? Well, we actually have a first-hand account. Dear Mother, this is your son, Henry Williamson. It's December 6th, and you'll never guess what happened yesterday. I'm writing from the trenches. It is 11 o'clock in the morning. In my mouth is a pipe presented by the Princess Mary. In the pipe is tobacco. Of course, you say, but in the pipe is German tobacco. Ha ha, you say, from a prisoner or found in a captured trench. Oh dear no, it's from Germany. On Christmas Eve, both armies sang carols and cheered, and there was very little firing. The Germans called to our men to come and fetch a cigar, and our men told them to come to us. This went on for some time, until Tommy crept out and stood between the trenches, and immediately a Saxon came to meet him. They shook hands and laughed, and 16 Germans came out. Thus, ice was broken, and Christmas happened. With love, your son. And thus was the Christmas truce of 1914. Men crossed no man's land and traded tobacco and chocolate, and some even played a game of soccer. This may not seem like much, but try to understand the significance of this event. In spite of all the tragic events surrounding these soldiers, they triumphed over it all and defied their nation's orders. Immediately after Christmas, war morale was boosted, and men experienced the strength to keep fighting for the love they would receive at home. The love they felt that Christmas Day. And in the long run, they showed us that wars are ultimately fought by the individual. Soldiers are capable of making decisions, and above all, these brave men proved that we can have peace if we're willing to take actions and risks for it. But when it comes down to it all wars are civil wars because all men are brothers. If we could just acknowledge that, we could see that humanity can triumph over tragedy. You know, the real tragedy is the fact that you kids are the ones chosen to get this message across. If I was smart, I would have done this whole performance about the Christmas truce by myself. But I'm an idiot, and I'm attempting to teach you this play in time for Christmas. So we'll be holding rehearsals every day after school until 9, and 10 till Saturdays and Sundays. If you don't personally think you're responsible enough for this, or you don't want to do this anymore, please leave now. Wow. Yeah, Mr. McMillan. It looks like it's going to be a one-man show. The end.